Hi everyone, I'm Will Brown and welcome to the WPQuickies series, bite-sized WordPress tips and tricks in 30 minutes or less. So this lunchtime, I'm going to be talking about WordPress logins using social media. So that's using your social media profiles to log into your WordPress website. If you're on a social channel watching this, give a subscribe, hit the bell, give a thumbs up, anything kind of button-wise roundabout, you can click that and just help me increase the audience, which would be great. Drop your name, who you are, where you're from, what you do in the comments below. I've got a couple of people online just now. Mr. Miapus, hi, how you doing? Cameron, hey Cameron, good to have you on board. And Jean and Future Shock as well. Some of our regulars joining. And Alan from Annandale, thank you so much for joining me on this. What was a sunny Sydney afternoon is probably going to be a thundery type of afternoon coming on. The Maze, hi to you as well. Thank you guys for joining in. Just a quick announcement. We do have a new WordPress Facebook group. So it's called WordPress Sydney Meetup group. So we moved from a page over to a group because it's kind of more flexible, more discussions that can happen in a group rather than a page. So if you are subscribed to the page, have a look at that group now and join us in there. I think I'm broadcasting live in the group as well just now. And it's got Julia, hi to you, and Joey J from a cloudy Singapore as well. And we've got Lynn from Wollongong. Thank you guys for joining me this afternoon or wherever you are. I always get asked about links. So yep, what I do is any links that are in my presentation, I summarize them all up and then I put them in the comments down below. So wherever you're watching this video, if it's on YouTube or Facebook, I'll add a comment with all the links and I'll add them onto the Facebook group and also onto the meetup page as well. So don't worry about missing any links. Sometimes I paste them in the chat. If not, I'll collate them all together at the end and put them as a big comment. And you guys can ask in the comments, just whatever you want to ask, put it in the comments. Do a hashtag ask at the beginning, just so it's easy for me to pick out. We've got Liz. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining me as well. Now let's jump straight into it today. We'll do a quick one today if we can. And so I got on top of IT services saying good day, and Roslyn as well. Got quite a lot of people online today. Over 22 at the moment. It's good. Okay. WP logins using social media. Now, if you have an e-commerce website, you're obviously going to need to let users register and log in to access their content and data-related features. Now, it's pretty standard for users to forget their usernames and passwords for sites they don't use daily. So allowing users to log in to your WordPress website using a platform like me already have an account on, like Facebook or Google, is going to improve your overall site's experience. So why add social logins to WordPress in the first place? Now, I already mentioned that adding social media buttons to your WordPress website helps with the user experience, the login side. Not having to register and set up yet another profile is very appealing to users. It's very appealing to me, I can tell you. Providing social media login button can increase the number of registrations on your website as well, because these people don't have to fill out this extra step of all the profiles. It's all kind of done for you, brought in from the social media platform. Also, adding a social media login button, it's likely to increase getting someone's actual email versus a fake or spam email address. Now, how many times have you logged into somewhere, created a profile, and not really used your proper email? You might have like a secondary email that you log into these services because you know that you're going to get emails and spam and stuff. I do that a lot. But with logging in using the social media profile, you're more likely to get that end user's real email address. So it's going to be absolutely marketing gold for that. So that's a great plus side for using these social media logins. But of course, with every plus side, there's a downside as well. Now, it's quite a lot of work to link your social network logins with a WordPress website. And I'm going to show you the process of doing that during this WP Quickie. Also, well, actually, doing that process, it can be a bit scary for beginners. It can be a bit daunting for beginners because there's lots of steps as well, and I'll show you those. And also, just remember you're explicitly giving the social media network giants permission to access your website and possibly its data, or at the very least, the logins and registrations as well. And that may be a step too far for some people, or it may not be in good keeping with your business privacy policy or terms and conditions. But saying that, let's stroll on and have a look anyway. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the plugin called Super Socializer. I'll copy the link here. And again, all the links will be at the end of the comment, but there's a link for you just to have a look as well. So this is the plugin that I'm going to use to demonstrate the process of linking a social media account to a WordPress login. Now, this is a friendly warning, and that this process is quite lengthy and requires you to hop in and out of social media accounts. And that's why I kind of said it's not really for the beginner. It could be very daunting for the beginner. But let's have a look through all the steps. Okay, so step one, go ahead and install and activate that Super Socializer plugin from your WordPress admin dashboard. And once that is activated, you need to then go in and enable the social login. So I'll put that on the big screen. There we go, a little bit bigger for there. So there, it's in the settings down in the sidebar, Super Socializer. You go to the social login and enable that. So click on that link there, that checkbox. And once that's done, you can use pretty much any of these social media networks listed. I mean, there's heaps of them. I've just chosen Facebook for this one, but you can see there's lots of ones. It might be a little bit too small there for you. But we've got WordPress, Amazon, Twitch, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, Foursquare, Stream, Yahoo, anything you like, Google as well. And so there's a whole heap of platforms that are supported by this particular plugin, but we're going to check the Facebook and select the social networks option from there. Now, to fill out the Facebook app ID, so that's the orange box or the yellow box that's highlighted. To fill out the Facebook app ID and Facebook apps secret from fields, you're going to have to visit the Facebook developer portal and create a new app from here. And this is where it gets a little bit daunting for some new people. So if you click the red question mark beside Facebook app ID, it actually gives you pretty detailed instructions, like step-by-step instructions as to how to get these as well. So if you haven't done this before, you can always click on that documentation. It's going to show you step-by-step how to get your Facebook app ID and the secret one as well. But I'll go through the process just to show you what it's like. So here's step 4. So in this one, we have visited somewhere called developers.facebook.com. So we're connecting the Facebook app to the social media login just for this one instance, this demonstration. So here is developers.facebook.com. Now, I've already created an account in here, but if you haven't, you need to register and create a new account. But once you're on the dashboard, you basically want to click on the green Create App button, which is in the top right hand corner there. Now you can see I've already got an existing app here. I kind of blurred out the details, but you wouldn't see anything here at all if you just created a new login for there. So create the new app, then that takes you to this page here. You basically want to choose consumer. Now sometimes this little dialog box changes from time to time, but you basically want to click on the consumer one from here and then click on continue. So the next step is to create an app. So type in the app display name. You can type anything you want, but I usually put the name of the website that I'm linking it to, and enter your current email address and select No Business Manager Account from the drop-down menu, and then click on Create App. Now, you may be prompted at this stage and in several other stages to enter your actual Facebook password, the developer password, just as an additional security check for those. So if you get a dialog box that pops up asking for your password, then type in your developers.facebook.com password, the one that you registered the account with. So click on Create App. And the next step here is once your app is created, let's start the integration as well. So select the Facebook login. So you can see at the top here your app ID. We can come back to that later on. But we're going to create a Facebook login. So click on that button, click on Setup. Sorry about my step numbers at the top. They're all out of sequence. They all say step 4, but I can tell you there's a lot more steps in it. Okay, so once you've selected that Facebook login, then you basically want to select the www, the web. That's saying it's a website. So we want to create a website login. We're not bothered about macOS. We're not bothered about Android, and certainly not others. So click on the www option, and that's going to take you here. What you want to do here is enter the URL of the website that you want to link the social login to. So I've just copied the HTTPS URL. So it's not the WP admin URL. It's not the login URL for WordPress. It's just the base URL, the homepage URL for that one. So enter that, click on Save. The next step, now you're going to be able to view your app ID and secret. Now, to do that, you want to navigate to settings on the right-hand side, left-hand side there, under Facebook login settings, and then basic for there. And you can see on this page, we've got some things highlighted. So we've got app ID at the top, we've got the app secret, and those are the two that we need for the login. And you can click on show to reveal the app secret. Now the app ID is just the ID it's related to that application you created within Facebook, but the secret, and that's a secret key that allows the two to connect together. So you definitely don't want to be sharing that secret out with anyone else over video or anything at all. And that's a secret link that allows Facebook to connect with your WordPress website. So don't go sharing that. Now there's a couple of extra things down here. Before you go and save the changes, you really have to put in your email address, which you put in earlier. But do you see the little box I've highlighted in yellow or orange? You need to put your privacy policy URL and your user deletion policy. Now, they can be the same thing, but if you don't put a URL link in those boxes, then when you go to the end of the process, it's going to flag that as a warning and you won't be able to continue. So do it now on this page. Put in your privacy policy on your website, the URL for that, and just copy that in twice for both of these here, and then save the changes, and you'll be able to continue through the process for that. Okay, next step, from that previous one here, from the previous page here, you copy the app ID, so that's at the very top, and the app secret, and you paste them into the WordPress plugin settings. So we'll flick back to WordPress now, and we're in the Socializer plugin settings. And the same page again that we've got Facebook checked, and now we can paste the Facebook app ID and the Facebook app secret into those two fields for those, and then save those settings in there. Okay, so we can see here the settings are saved. You should see a message pop up at the top of the screen prompting you to add the displayed URL into your Facebook app settings. So at the top here in the red, we've got a URL. For that, I know it's really difficult to see, but you've got to copy that URL. So in the very top bar with the red to it, it says add HTTPS, and it's got a particular link for there, and then add that into your Facebook app. So we're switching again from WordPress back into developer Facebook app. And this time you want to navigate to the Facebook login. That's on the left-hand side. It's kind of a little bit chopped up there, but that's the blue link there, and then the settings with a little arrow pointing to it. And it opens up this page here. You want to go to the bit that says valid OAuth redirect URIs, and then copy that URL that's at the very top here, very top on the WordPress, into the Facebook app on developers.facebook, into that particular field, and save your changes. Okay, so to activate the Facebook login integration on your live site, you're going to need to toggle the switch at the very, very top. So that's the very first one at the very top. So when it says app mode development, you can click that across to live. Now here's the little warning box that I got. So I went through this process and I didn't put the privacy policy on there. And you get a little warning at the top that says you've got to add your privacy policy and stuff to that. So I had to go back, add all that sort of stuff, and then come back to this page and click on the live at the top. But once that's done, once that's live, then that's the connection made between the Facebook app and your WordPress login. So you may also see this warning message as well. Your app has standard access to public profile. To use Facebook login, switch public profile to advanced access. So click on the Get Advanced Access link and complete the pop-up dialog box for that process to get done. So you basically follow this dialog box, and it tells you exactly what to do. There's a couple of stages where you've got to go, and you've got to click on an extra few little links, but this dialog box steps you through all that. Okay, so if it's not already there, and this is where the dialog box takes you. If it's not already there, then you have to navigate to App Review on the left-hand side, and we're in Facebook. We're still in Facebook Developers. Click on App Review and go down to Permissions and Features, and you can see here it says Public Profile. So scroll down to Public Profile for that, and then click on the Get Advanced Access button, and that's the one that's highlighted. That's going to pop up this, and you've basically got to read it and then check and confirm that you agree that you're linking the public profile of this app to your WordPress website. So click on Confirm for that. Note that your app's public profile is now set to advanced access, and that's highlighted in green there for that one. Okay, so that's it. So now you'll have to complete the data use checkup complete. So click on the Get Started link. That's at the top here. So it says action required. Complete the data use checkup. So you've got to click on that. Now you've got like 30 days to do this. So it's the data policy within developers Facebook. You've got 30 days to go and complete this process. If you don't do it, then the app's going to be disabled. So it's probably best just to do it now. So go and click up at the Get Started at the top. And then just follow this dialog box here. So it basically goes to that dashboard. You've basically got to read and agree to the terms and save that, and that's it all done. So there's quite a few steps there. Let's flip back to WordPress. So this is the last step. You want to log out of WordPress or go into a WordPress go into a incognito tab, and then type in your WordPress login address. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if you went through all those steps, clicked on all those buttons, copied all that stuff across, agreed for everything, signed your life away. If you refresh that screen, you should see a Facebook login there. So that means you can bypass the username, bypass the password, the WordPress stuff, and just click on that button there to log in with Facebook and add in your login details for that. And then you log into WordPress. And here is the final page. So I've done that. I've clicked on that Facebook login and I've logged in. I went to my user profile, and you can see at the very top here, it says currently connected with Facebook. Now, if you want to remove that connection, you can, and all the users can do that as well. So you click on the remove, and then you're deregistered from the website, and you've got to go through the normal WordPress registration process at all. So that was quite a process for doing that. So you can see the number of steps. Step 5, not really. I think there's probably about 12 steps in total for that, and that's just Facebook. So if you want to connect Google, you've got to go through something similar with a lot more steps as well. And that's the true for any of these social logins that you want to connect. So it is quite a long step. You've got to create logins, you've got to create developer accounts, you've got to create an app as well that links the two together. So it's not an easy process. But if the benefits, if you like to allow the users to do this, it can have some benefits, increasing the user experience with just a single button to click, and then they just click through to their social media. They click on OK, they agree to all the permissions, and that's the things linked together. And as I say, sometimes you actually get a real email address, which is a good benefit as well. And I guess the cons are just this process. Really, it's a really lengthy process for that. But if you use this plugin, it's all fully documented. So all those question marks that you have, it does take you through step by step, shows you all the things to click on. And if you're doing the process as well, Facebook has got those warnings and Google's got warnings as well, and that make sure you're clicking through the right stuff before you actually go live and it will work. Debbie says that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It certainly is. And that's why I just wanted to do one login, because I really couldn't have any time to do the other ones. Morris asks, is it a good idea or possible to log into the admin dashboard using socials? Is it secure enough? Yep, I mean, it's exactly the same interface. You're logging into the same place. It's just the authentication process is different for that. So rather than use the WordPress username and login, where when you type that in, then WordPress then does a hash of the password that you type in and checks that with the hash that's in the database. Rather than do that, all it's doing is it's using the Facebook or whatever social media authentication process. So by creating that app for the login, you're basically linking your WordPress website to Facebook, to any social media, and that's the authentication process that it's going through. So as long as you're HTTPS, then the data that you're sending is going to be encrypted for that. I'm fairly sure it won't work without HTTPS anyway for that. So yes, it is secure. It's secure enough, I reckon. It's as secure as your social media passwords are going to be. So for example, all my social media, I use two-factor authentication. So no one's going to be able to log in with that, or highly unlikely to be able to log in unless they've got access to my codes for that. So really, again, how secure is it? It's as secure as you have made that particular social media login. So if you've got a username and password that's pretty much rubbish, then yes, it's probably not going to be secure. But that's your responsibility as an admin. It's your responsibility as an end user as well to make sure that your passwords and usernames are safe. He agrees with Morris. Good one. Okay, Mr. Merpy says, although not really social, I use Jetpack, so it lets me log in using my WordPress.com account. Yep, so it's a similar process. So it's called OAuth, or Open Authentication, and it's basically a way that allows you to link two websites together to talk to each other. But you always get that dialog box that comes up to say, this social site that you're linking to wants permission to do blah, 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 blah. And it's very similar if you've got an Android phone. I don't know if it's the same for Apple Mac, but certainly if you've got an Android phone, when you're installing an app, it comes and it asks you, it says, oh, this app is requesting permission to, access your phone, access your contacts, access your camera. In a similar way, when you're authenticating with social media using this OAuth, you'll get a little dialog box, and it's going to say that this social media account, it requires access to, and it's going to tell you, what it's going to access to. So it's really up to yourself to give access to that. And that's a similar way, Mr. Merpius, that WordPress.com links as well through Jetpack. John says, I have a number of members under different roles. So how does that work with Facebook login? Does it work with email addresses? Yes, it works with your email address. So it'll bring in the basic stuff. It'll bring in your name and your email address. And then from an admin point of view, you can then assign whatever roles you like. Or depending on how they're logging in as well, it's going to log into whatever role you've got set. So if you're running a WooCommerce website, then it's going to bring those people in as shoppers. I can't remember what the baseline profile is, but it's going to create in as the lowest profile, lowest role that you set on your WordPress website. The maze asks, essentially, this process says if Facebook trusts who you are, then WordPress will trust you in the same person. Yep. So what's the downside? What's being compromised? That's exactly right. That's the app that you're creating. So you created this little app to link the two together. You're linking WordPress through to Facebook, and essentially you're saying that you trust that login to be able to log into WordPress as well. What's the downside? Well, the downside is you're given permission for that Facebook app to log into your WordPress site for that, and that means there could be another point of intrusion. So if your Facebook gets breached, for example, your Facebook developers, then they've got access to your app and your secret, which means that they can go through that and log in directly to your WordPress website using that connection. So they could create an app that then hijacks onto that. So you got to keep your Facebook and social sites secure. That's the kind of the downside. That's the trust point for those. Morris says, I guess, is it possible to link multiple WordPress sites and admin pages to one Facebook account? It is. So if you use the same app ID and secret, then you can link that. However, it would have to be a multi-site for that, because the domain name that you give into the OAuth when you're creating that Facebook app, it's going to be a unique one. You can only add one of those in. So really, if you've got separate sites, you're probably going to need to create separate apps to log into those, and not the exact same one. But you can use the same process to do different sites. Julia asks, when the one user logged in, I put the remove that feature in the last screen, and would it be only for them? Yep. So that's when I've logged into this one here, and that's my profile. So forget that I'm an admin. This would be like a normal person that's logged in. So when they go to their dashboard, their profile, this is what they're going to see. So they have that ability to remove that connection between their Facebook account and this WordPress website, and that's only for them. But you as an admin, will be able to go in and remove connections as well. Yeah, great question. Steph asks, sometimes I hear these types of plugins get exploited. Yep, that's true. I mean, plugins are only as secure as how they've been created. Usually, if one of these plugins has been exploited, hopefully developers up on it and they're really, really quick. And that's why you should only ever use plugins that are actively updated as well. But I think most of these plugins are, the ones that I'm using anyway, are pretty much kept up to date all the time. But yeah, if you're doing anything with logins, anything with security, anything with OAuth, make sure that the app developer is actively supporting and updating that particular application. Otherwise, as Steph said, you could find yourself in a vulnerability, if it's not being updated and actively supported for those. So yeah, that's a great thing, a great warning, a great tip to do. Okay, guys, there've been quite a lot of questions there. That was quite good. Let's just see, just an extra few slides. Yeah, so you can suggest some topics for me. If there's any juicy topics, I might replace one of the existing quickies and put that one in. Just a little shout out for WPAustralia.org. Visit there, find out all the meetups in Australia. And also there's a button there to join in the Slack conversation there. And Slack's just a kind of a hangout place that we kind of have open all the time. Developers, designers, there's business users, there's normal used like WordPress website owners in there. Lots of different things. You can have a look at that in your own time. There's my connection details. I've got a question from John, one last question. It says, can users re-enable the ability to log in with Facebook if they remove it and change their mind? Yes, but you have to go through the same process. So if you've connected with Facebook and you've went to your profile and you've removed that connection, you're essentially logged out. So you'll need to go to the WordPress login, click on that Facebook, and then re-authenticate using OAuth with the big dialog box that asks for all those different permissions. So yes, you can always go back in and re-authenticate afterwards. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for your questions. Those are some really good questions there. There's my details up there. Happy to connect with you on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. For the big monthly meetup, which is on October 25th, and that's at 6 p.m. So it's the last. Actually, it's not on the 25th. It's actually on the 26th. That's wrong there. So the big WordPress Sydney meetup, the evening meetup, is on October the 26th. I've had to move it one day extra because it's someone's birthday. It's very important here, so I can't do it on the Monday. So that's going to be on the Tuesday. I'm going to be talking about WordPress security. This is my kind of big roundup of all kind of WordPress security related issues, going through those. So join us on October the 26th at 6 p.m. for that. But next week, I'm going to be talking about how to replace existing WordPress websites. So if you've got a live WordPress website out there and running, I'm going to talk about the kind of steps, the kind of tricks, maybe some frustrations as well, of replacing that existing production website with something else you might have redesigned or you might have redeveloped. So I'll be talking about that for kind of normal brochureware websites, and also have a couple of slides on WooCommerce as well, because a lot of people have the WooCommerce websites. They get a redesign as well, and they wonder how you can then replace, the existing one with the newly developed one. So that's what I'm going to talk about next week. Join me there. Thank you very much, guys, for all your questions and your time with me. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.